you're here, this is where we are. One of the things that we practice here are overarching questions and extended learning. So the idea of using the city itself as a laboratory is, Mr. Goldstein, you want to come up here so I can introduce you, please? Thank you so much. This is Mr. Goldstein, and I'm going to ask him to tell you a little bit about himself, but Mr. Goldstein is one of our co-founders of our school, so you can tell us about yourself.
You bet. Welcome, everyone. I think several of you I've met already, but as Ms. Underwood said, I'm Peter Goldstein. I'm a licensed architect and have spent my career practicing the first part of my career and then teaching in education with high school students for the second part. And there was an idea to have a school in downtown Dallas where we could really use the city as our lab. And so now we have City Lab that just opened to our first class of founding students. And the idea is really simple, as we said, to use the city as our classroom. But that doesn't just include the physical city, but we do a lot of that here. It also includes a lot of community partners who work with us. And these are architects and engineers and planners and institutions like SMU, and I know we have some SMU folks, and Habitat for Humanity and the Texas Trees Foundation. And so it gives the students an opportunity to work side by side with industry experts and kind of see what all these different career opportunities are. So we're thrilled to have you here at City Lab. I'm over in the studio around the corner, and I know that all our teachers are here too. So please feel free to ask any of us any questions. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Goldstein. So one of those overarching questions is, what are some of the urban projects in Dallas that will impact your life? So I'd just like to hear from you. What's going on in Dallas that might impact you? The bullet train that's going to Houston, absolutely. Any other ideas, thoughts?
Rising heat levels.
Rising heat levels. My freshman can tell you a lot about that. You can learn about that in Mr. Goldstein's studio class, and also Miss Green, who is in the back here, our pre-AP biology teacher, and they are doing a study together with Texas Trees. Any other ideas? Yeah. The highways, lots of transition and way too much traffic, right? Yes, welcome to Dallas. So the Texas Bullet Train is a new train that will get you from Dallas to Houston in 90 minutes. It goes up to 205 miles per hour. But it's not even close to being finished yet. So one of the things we hope to do is to be able to partner with them to help them working on their infrastructure and their plan. So along with urban planning and environmental science, another thing is that Trinity River Corridor project. Okay, we hadn't mentioned that, but that is a huge, huge piece of our urban planning that we hope to become involved in as students at City Lab. So Mr. Goldstein, you're here. Can you talk about Zaha Hadid?
Love to.
He does it better than I do. Just stand here.
So here at City Lab, we have 6 C's. And one of our most important C's is the creativity. And we love to show this slide. This is what many people consider to be one of the most creative architects in recent history. Her name is Zaha Hadid. And you can see a bench that she designed here. This is actually at the Dallas Museum of Art. Some of you might have sat in this incredible bench. And then here's some boats she designed, and some fashion, and some automobile, and a building, which she's most famous for. And so one of the things we're exposing the students to is what we call creative problem solving. We give them problems, these overarching questions that Ms. Underwood mentioned, and then they have an opportunity to explore them and explore other architects and designers and creative thinkers' work. Now, one of the neat things is, unfortunately, Zaha Hadid won't be coming to visit City Lab because she just passed away about a year ago. But we do have all kind of people and partners that I mentioned who come visit. And we've had a filmmaker from New York who premiered a documentary here in Dallas about a month ago, come and talk to our students about the power of narrative and the creative process and collaboration, which are all part of what the students are involved in at City. This is another really famous architect, and maybe some of you met us at one of our info nights. where we have one of these chairs here designed by Frank Gehry, another very innovative architect from the West Coast. And this is a chair made out of cardboard, actually. So using common everyday materials. This is one of his most iconic buildings in Spain. And then about 2 weeks ago, we had an opportunity to go visit a building right here on the edge of downtown by Ricardo Legarreta. And you can see some of the student sketches over in the studio. So again, we're kind of studying and talking about these people who are creative and inspiring the students to be creative problem solvers. Now, this is a real important part of the City Lab experience, and I'm going to turn this over back to Ms. Underwood in a second. But this is really where Ms. Green falls in. All our students take pre-AP bio, and this is one of our pathways at City Lab, is environmental science, and what many of us think could be one of the most important ones. And so right now, our students are working with the Texas Trees Foundation. They met with 2 urban foresters who are really leaders in their field. And they just released a heat island study. I think that's what you mentioned, which is a major problem in Dallas, actually in urban centers all across the area. Fortunately, here in Dallas, Texas Trees has done this study and allowed us to better understand the problem, and even more so, what some of the solutions are. So here at City Lab, our students are actually working on a design to turn our roof and take some of this gray infrastructure of our roads and buildings that are heating up the city and creating quite a few problems in our urban areas. And then they're kind of redesigning the roof to turn it green. Now, the other thing, and here's what we love at City Lab, is not only do they have a chance to design this and work with these experts, but they're also out collecting data. So they saw the report that Texas Trees made, and then they went over to City Hall Plaza and took temperature readings of the temperature differentials between the sun and the shade in various spots, put that data online as part of the study so that we can continue that on into the future. So it's real hands-on. Again, another City Lab hallmark is hands-on learning.
Thanks, stay close. So the hands-on project-based learning is a huge part of what we do here, and as that particular project that Mr. Goldstein just addressed is across content, right? So we are working math with the differentials, we are working with science, we are working with studio. So our teachers plan collaboratively together constantly. So our core components here are hands-on learning, which is project-based learning. We use PBL through the Buck Institute, which is the gold standard. All of our teachers are trained in that. They spent extensive amount of time this summer and follow-ups. Using the city itself as a lab, like Mr. Goldstein said, community partnerships is a huge part of what we do, and then asking our students to be good citizens. So the city as a lab is our learning laboratory. And what the students are doing really is understanding the relationships between the man-made and what's going on around their environment. Just becoming aware and conscious. So students, let me just ask you a quick question. How many of you guys go back and forth to school on the school bus and you don't even really look out the window? How many of you could tell me street to street how your school bus gets to school every day? How many of you could name a bridge that you cross or pass? Okay? So, one of the things that we're trying to do is raise awareness and consciousness about our environment here. And to help you to be engaged in your neighborhoods and your communities, to be a part of the change and the difference making. With the hands-on learning, we are always starting with the TEKS in mind. Just because we are a choice school, we are still accountable to the state of Texas for graduation requirements and STAR. Very, very accountable, in fact. So we do integrate that studio class so that all of our students take it year-round. It is a year-long course where they not only practice architecture, but also kind of get a taste of urban planning and environmental science. So it's really just a nice precursor to our pathways. And then as always, we want our students to practice critical thinking and good problem-solving skills. We work in depth with our community partners. One of the end game goals is for our juniors to do a rotation with community partners and industry experts, and by their senior year to hook them up with an industry expert so that they can do an internship for at least a semester. The dream is that the industry partner will like them so much and our students will create such a passion that they will help them through scholarships and through our advisory board providing scholarships and financial help and assistance, that the students will go to college and come back to us here in Dallas instead of going to college and going to Chicago and help them being awesome, or LA, or we want them to come back here. We want to invest in our students so that they can come back to our city. These are just a handful of the partners that we work with. We have so many more, and every time I show this slide, Mr. Goldstein, I know I need to put more logos up there. It's almost embarrassing, but this is really just a drop in the bucket of who we're working with. Citizenship is huge. Those are 4 of our amazing students right there. So with citizenship, we have an SEL program, which is social emotional learning. Our students participate for 20 minutes every day with an advisor that they will have all 4 years. That's really, really important to be able to make that connection with an adult early on as a freshman, knowing that they will be here for them for the next 4 years up until graduation. In that SEL advisory time, we are practicing skills such as that will affect us academically, socially, and emotionally. Things like how to give a good handshake. What did you guys study today? Let me ask my students, what did you guys talk about today in advisory? Can anybody tell me? Oh, snap.
Come on, Alex.
Alex, Kenneth,
You helped out.
Samaya, Allison. What are you guys walking out? Oh, you're walking over here. Come here. I thought you were ditching. What did you guys talk about today in advisory?
Remember Jalen?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so for preparing for our ACP in geometry and algebra, we do one question this week.
And then Allison?
We worked on prioritizing to be able to study and prepare for our ECPs next week.
Nice. High five. Okay, that was totally on the spot. But, so they're awesome. Self-management, that kind of thing. Just really developing those skills that we don't spend time in school trying to develop. Our grad, we have the graduation plan. We have 4 pathways of study so that students can earn 4 different endorsements, and most of them can earn up to 2 endorsements when they graduate. All of our students will be placed on the Distinguished Level of Achievement Plan. We want them to be college and career ready and critical thinkers by the time they graduate from us. This is our freshman academic day, so these are the classes you could expect as freshmen to take next year. English 1, Pre-AP Biology, Algebra 1, or Geometry. So if you're taking Algebra 1 as an 8th grader now, expect to take Geometry next year. AP Human Geography, that's taught by Mr. Good in the back, that is a College Board AP class. It's important that our students know that all of our students will be taking the College Board AP test at the end of the year. We do provide interventions throughout the day so that we are sure that everybody, we close the gaps and that everybody's ready for that test. We'll provide professional communications and speech, Mr. Goldstein's studio class, and next year we're adding a class called MAPS. It's Mapping for Academic and Personal Success, where we can spend more time every week doing the things that we do in advisory to prepare you as freshmen to be successful. These are our 6 C's that Mr. Goldstein talked about. They are posted all over our campus, and these are things that we focus on during advisory as far as being good citizens, having compassion, and collaborating. This is an example of some of our students at the Dallas Parking Day. Will you talk about that just really briefly?
You bet. So Parking Day was our 2nd field trip of the 1st semester. It's a global event that's held in cities all around the world, and it's an opportunity to take the streets and transform them into a place of social interaction where people exchange ideas rather than just drive cars around. So we had a wonderful time at Parking Day, and we literally took our classroom from City Lab, we moved it to Main Street, and set up our class right there on the street. There were all kind of other companies and firms. We were next to the Dallas Public Library's booth where they were giving away books. Bonton Farms, an amazing urban farm, was across the street. Habitat for Humanity was down the way. And the kids had the opportunity to meet and exchange and use the city in a really different way. And so these are the kind of innovative urban transformations that our students are involved in at City Lab.
Thank you. These are more pictures of our students. This was actually their very first field trip on the first week of school. So we really try to practice what we preach in getting our students out of these four walls and into the city. Partnerships, press, and media. We've gotten a lot of media attention, and it's all been good. So we are gonna knock on some wood for that. Project-based learning. This is an example of what our students were doing in a biology class. With Miss Green, I think they were studying cell membranes. Oh, I got that right, good job. All right, let's go over some tidbits. Right now, our school day is from 8 to 4. We are having a conversation about that in-house. It may change, but for right now, we do have an extended school day from 8 to 4, which allows our students to have 4 extra Fridays off beyond what all of the other Dallas ISD students get off. And that's where we spend our time as a faculty doing professional development. City Lab students, the criteria to get into City Lab, we already kind of talked about that, but just to emphasize that everybody has an equal chance of being accepted regardless of your academic history. Okay, that's the important thing, is we are about diversity, closing gaps, acceptance, and making sure that our students have equal opportunity. That's what makes us different. The students go into the random computerized lottery. Now, one of the other differences is that we are a 50-50 school. So you have one important question to answer when you are filling out your application tonight. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But the one important question to answer is, do you qualify through federal standards for free and reduced lunch? If it's a yes, then you go into one category. If it's a no, you go into a different category. And then 50% of our students are drawn out of each category. And I'm thrilled to say that out of the 80 students we have, 40 of our students are classified as free and reduced lunch, and the other 40 are not. We don't know who, we don't care. But what that does is it brings diversity to the table, different experiences. It brings not only social and economic diversity, but it brings geographical diversity is one of the things we've learned. All kinds of differences, so that when our students collaborate and sit down and solve problems, they are coming to it from different ideas. The question about athletics or band, those kind of activities come up. We do not have that here on our campus. However, if we know of a student who wants to do that, I work closely with their principal, and Ms. Copeland works closely with the coach, and we make sure that it happens. So currently we have a student playing basketball, we have a student getting ready for soccer, baseball, we had a student in band and football. So yeah, we will definitely work with your neighborhood school. To learn more, we do have a shadowing opportunity. Ms. Copeland is over here at a shadowing table where you can certainly sign up for that. You can come and spend half a day with one of our amazing City Lab ambassadors. And then we have stations set up. We have one here at the Blue Pillar, one down there where Ms. Rodriguez is, and she's waving to you, and then one right over here behind my touch screen. Those 3 stations are all Chromebooks where you can go on tonight and sign up as for an application. It just is not a very long application. So let me say one more thing about applications. I know that a lot of people want to go to different magnet schools, and that is great. You have a passion, and I believe in that. What I want to say is, a lot of the magnet schools and the tag schools are taking fewer than 100 students this next year. Very exclusive. Very exclusive. I have no doubt that every one of you can get in. But you need a second choice. And what we hope tonight is always to be your first choice. We hope to convince you tonight that this is where you want to go and you don't want to go anywhere else. but you need a second choice and you need a third choice. You can apply to 2 choice schools. There's only 2 of us anyway. It's us and IDEA. And you can apply to 2 magnet schools this year. So we hope to be your choice. We hope that by the time you leave tonight, you will click a QR code on one of our pillars. We have the QR codes for English and Spanish. Plug it in your phone. Sit down, have a seat, relax, chill, and fill out that application. You can go over here where Ms. Rodriguez is and fill it out on a Chromebook, and we do have paper applications as well at the front desk with Ms. McCrae. So everything is in English and in Spanish. So this is the time when I show you. Mr. Goldstein, will you push play? Just click on the little arrow.
Where's Miss Nausik? I don't know. Miss Green.
So you're gonna have to.
There it is.
There we go.
Boom. Okay, we're ready.
Thank you, Ms. Green.
Thanks, Miss Green. There we go. Awesome. I don't think I have to
You get to have like a different experience, and you get to come and meet all these like really cool teachers. Like I love all my teachers, and you get to just like meet all these cool people that have like the same interest in you.
It's not like a typical high school because we don't have classrooms, and it's pretty much just an open space.
All the buildings you see around Dallas and downtown, it's like, I wonder who built that. I wonder how long did it take. I wonder what they used. It's like, you don't think about that until you come to this school.
So what questions might you have for us?
Click anywhere on that slide.
How many students are in the freshman class now?
80.
80.
And we're looking to add 200. There we go. Oh, you got it. Thank you. I just had
What is the noise level like in here?
we can ask our students, but it's not bad. We really thought that it was. I'm sorry. Yes.
Absolutely.
What is
The noise level like? We have, when you go through classroom areas, we have rectangular sound strips up on top of the ceilings that absorb sound. So the teachers have created their space, and here's what I heard as feedback from teachers and students, and you can absolutely ask them, is that it hasn't been a distraction. That it's like turns into like white noise. And sometimes for some of them, it helps them to focus. It turns their focus around. But I encourage you to talk to the students and to the teachers about what that's like. What other questions might you have?
And we've already completed the application online with the
No, ma'am, that's a great question. If you've already completed an application, you are good to go. There is nothing more to. And I will say this, some people are